It's Friday, May 15th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. The long weekend road trip just got more expensive for Maritimers. A Made in the Maritimes movie is selling out and has theaters taking notice.
It's a fair weather long weekend forecast for the Maritimes. Some warmer May weather for next week as well.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
Good Friday evening. You knew it was coming, not surprising perhaps, before a long weekend. Motorists in another maritime province are now facing $2 gasoline. Overnight, New Brunswick hit a maximum price of $2.02 a litre, joining Prince Edward Island. A litre slightly under $2 in Nova Scotia. CTV's Derek Haggett has reaction.
It's quite the trip for Calvin Spinney. He leaves Sussex before 7 a.m., picks up seafood in Alma, then sells it at this gas station in Moncton. With gas pushing $2 a litre, all that driving is getting expensive.
It's about $10 more a day for me right now, cost for the fuel. It adds up because I only work on a little commission, so that comes right to the bottom line.
His customers aren't happy either.
The gas prices are out of this world. They're crazy.
Regular self-serve increased by 5 cents in New Brunswick today, and the new maximum price is a little over $2. Most stations here were charging $1.97. Still way too much for some.
People are having to choose between paying their heat, paying their groceries, getting gas to go to work. There's just not enough money to pay for everything.
She thinks the province should be doing more, and so does the opposition.
What is the Premier prepared to do to provide tax relief at the pumps as of today, May 15th, with the maximum price of gas going at $2.02?
The province says they did take steps late last year.
We provided immediate relief, and we now have a transparent system that is based on Canadian pricing as opposed to California pricing.
While many people I spoke with today are angry and fed up with the price of gas, others are willing to accept it, knowing there's really not much they can do about it.
Well, it's quite high, but you know, there's not much that we can do. It's global. It's not really just Moncton.
$1.40 or $2.40. No sense bitching about it because you have to burn it anyway.
Gas prices also jumped in Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island ahead of the long weekend. Derek Haggett, CTV News, Moncton.
The escape from a provincial jail in New Brunswick was preventable and should have never happened. That's the finding of an internal review that looked into what allowed an inmate to leave the institution undetected last winter. CTV's Nick Moore has details.
And this is all in the goal to minimize from this happening again.
Public Safety Minister Robert Gauvin says there's only so much he can reveal about an internal review looking at how an inmate was able to jump the fence and escape unnoticed 3 months ago from the Southeast Regional Correctional Center in Shediac.
We understand this could be a very traumatic experience for people in the region, so we're very happy that nothing happened on that front.
The inmate escaped the correctional center on February 12th, just before 5:30 p.m. Police were not alerted to the situation until 12:30 a.m. the following day. He was on the run for more than a month. Police arrested Todd John Lewis in Moncton on March 23rd. The internal review found that the escape was preventable. Gauvin said there have been changes made to ensure prisoner counts are carried out in a more thorough way, but would not get specific.
Well, there were supposed to be 2 counts. That was out already. There was between 5 and midnight. So they worked on that, so to make sure the procedures are respected. So that was part, I imagine, of the questions that were asked.
Gauvin said the review has prompted physical changes to the Shediac Correctional Center, as well as the province's other correctional facilities. The Department of Public Safety says a few people fell short of minimum expectations and that corrective actions had been taken. When asked if any correctional staff had been terminated over the incident, Gauvin would not confirm one way or another, citing HR confidentiality.
People work in those facilities. This is not an easy job. So I want to say thank you for all of those who decide to do that work.
Meanwhile, Lewis is facing numerous charges, including escaping lawful custody, failing to appear in court, and several weapons-related offenses. Nick Moore, CTV News, Fredericton.
Well, that's how this Friday evening is shaping up at the beach at Somerville, Nova Scotia. It's cloudy, 14 degrees. Kaylin is laughing. Long weekend coming up. Let's bring you in here for our first look at the weekend.
That's no good. That's not looking very summer-like in Somerville at the moment, is it?
Not now. I don't think anybody's racing out to go swimming, mind you, but it would be nice to be able to at least walk on the beach under some decent skies.
Well, we'll get some clearing as we move into the long weekend forecast around the Maritimes. It's going to be a decent amount of sunshine around Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Temperatures headed up for both Saturday and Sunday. Might cool a few degrees for the Monday. There is a chance of a few showers. For example, early Saturday morning, eastern parts of the region, so eastern Prince Edward Island, eastern areas of Nova Scotia, might still have some showers around. Those will be ending, moving from the morning into the afternoon. Then the next chance of showers comes on Sunday, but it's a very low chance. It'd be with some spotty pop-up showers developing Sunday afternoon into evening, and for most communities, it's going to only be about a 30% chance or so. Now, as we just saw, we do have some cloud cover still around the Maritimes for this evening and tonight, and some areas that are expecting to see a little bit more wet weather. And while temperatures were milder today in a good portion of New Brunswick, especially into the west of the province and parts of the southwest of Nova Scotia, it was cooler in eastern areas where it was cloudier and the wet weather lingered a little bit more, and that carries on into this evening with some temperatures right now around the east of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island around the mid to high single digits. Checking in on the winds right now, mostly out of the north and being sustained between around 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. Not much going on in the way of wind gusts, a few occasional gusts between 30 and 40. And then taking a look at things on radar and satellite, there's the cloud cover that's still in place. And as we head through this evening and tonight, there'll be some showers redeveloping across Prince Edward Island and northern and western areas of Nova Scotia. That's happening on the backside of this big low pressure system that mostly held just offshore of Nova Scotia. So as that low continues to make its way up towards the north, bringing more rain to Newfoundland, that band of showers in behind it has to work its way eastward across the Maritime region. So that'll happen tonight into tomorrow morning, and then in behind that, as it clears away, that's when we get into the sunnier, warmer weather. And like I said before, generally fair weather extending through the upcoming long weekend. I know there's a lot of events going on, Todd, including the Blue Nose Marathon, for example. So weather conditions look like they're going to be pretty ideal for those type of events, those type of activities. Okay, we'll look forward to the full forecast. And you just made a very nice segue there, because that's what our next story is about. There's lots going on in the region. In Halifax, as Kaylin mentioned, you got the Blue Nose Marathon running, the Thunderbirds, the Tides, they both play. And there's plenty of road and bridge closures to go with it all. Here's CTV's Brianne Foley.
If you're staying in the Halifax area this long weekend, plan on giving yourself a lot of extra time. Street and bridge closures, plenty of construction, and lots of events will keep the city busy.
So we have road closures in place from 8 o'clock until 12 o'clock tomorrow morning as we kick off with the Purple Cow 5K, followed by Doctors Nova Scotia Youth Run. Sunday morning, we have even more road closures. People need to know that the McDonald Bridge will be closed starting at 5:30 in the morning until noon. So lots of road closures, rolling road closures throughout the north end, Dartmouth, the south end.
There will be overnight closures tonight on the McDonald Bridge from midnight until 5 a.m. and lots of people participating in the Blue Nose Marathon weekend.
We're expecting about 11,000 participants. Lots of volunteers. We've got about 1,400 volunteers that are helping to make the weekend take shape and make everything possible for our participants.
The Halifax Thunderbirds play their first ever finals game in Hamilton tonight, but there's a watch party here in town.
Today, we are so excited for our first live viewing party from inside the nest. It's lower bowl access only, first come, first serve. Doors are opening at 8 p.m., so make sure you get here nice and early to secure your seat.
And Sunday, they play at the Scotiabank Centre at 7 p.m.
Yeah, obviously get here early. Again, I said doors open at 8 for tonight, and then doors will open an hour ahead of game time on Sunday. But obviously get here early. Parking is always a fun time in Halifax.
Monday, the Halifax Tides are back in action at the Wanderers grounds for an action-packed end to the weekend residents may not have been aware of.
Yes, thanks for letting me know. I didn't know there's so many things going on. I knew about the marathon, the Blue Nose Marathon.
So, Todd, lots of humans, lots of restrictions. My suggestion, if you do have to be in the city this weekend, ditch the keys and get those extra steps in, because it is going to be pretty busy. Of course, there are going to be buses rerouted as well. So if you do have to get into the car and drive, just make sure you're giving yourself a lot of extra time, some breathable space, and maybe, you know, a little extra patience as well, especially on Sunday.
All very good advice. Brianne Foley at the McDonald Bridge, North End, Halifax. Thank you, Brianne. Maybe you get out of town altogether, right? This is a big holiday for tourist towns in the Maritimes, of course. It's when shops and restaurants and attractions swing the doors open again, hoping for warm weather and crowds of visitors. Shediac is one of those communities that comes alive this weekend. CTV's Josh Smith was there.
From RVs rolling in to businesses reopening on the wharf, the signs of summer are here. This campground operator says they're already noticing a shift with more people looking to stay in one spot.
In the last week here, more people are calling in for seasonal lots. They say they don't want to travel because of the price of fuel and stuff.
Operators say visitors from all over North America play a role in the local economy.
I'm getting a lot from Ontario, Quebec. We got a couple here from Florida already.
Down the road in Pointe-aux-Chenes, the wharf is preparing for another busy stretch. While flooding back in December created some challenges, officials say it's full steam ahead.
We've sold well over almost 200 memberships, and then we are totally sold out of our for boats, for docks, for slips.
And new for this year, the wharf is expected to be open beyond September.
We're going to stay open longer. That date hasn't been set yet by the board, but it will be. But it will definitely be longer than the long weekend in September.
Another summer tradition returning this weekend is the drive-in movie theater.
In terms of weather, we're completely dependent on it. Of course, we have our fingers crossed. We're super happy that our opening weekend is going to be great. Our teams have been getting ready and getting excited, and you see the anticipation.
Whether it's seafood on the wharf or a movie under the stars, businesses here are hoping that this long weekend is the start of another busy summer. Josh Smith, CTV News, Pointe-aux-Chenes, New Brunswick.
This will be tonight's CTV web poll. And we're asking, what's your favorite thing to do over the long weekend? We've got a lot of options for you. Okay, first one. Maybe you're going to have a barbecue with some family and friends. How about going camping? A lot of the parks are now open, the provincial parks. We've talked a lot about patios in the region. Maybe you're thinking about hitting a patio. Maybe you're going to do some gardening, a road trip, spend some time outside. Maybe you're not going to do any of that. Let us know at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. And speaking of tourist attractions, HMCS Sackville has returned to its summer spot on Halifax's waterfront. Canada's last surviving Flower-class corvette. It's a floating museum and memorial. Corvettes, of course, played a major role in the Battle of the Atlantic during the Second World War, leading convoys overseas and hunting enemy submarines.
It's a symbol that we are doing today is a bit of a permission, an acknowledgement that the customs and the traditions that we carry in our ships, that Sackville will continue to perpetuate that, acknowledging the tie between the past, the present, and our future.
If you're in Halifax, you can go down to the wharf. You can certainly visit and tour the vessel. It's at the berth near the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic. Going to continue with the travel theme here, and air travel options out of Moncton grew today. The Romeo Leblanc Airport welcomed a new direct service between the hub city and Hogtown. That is the first Flair Airlines flight between Moncton and Toronto. It touched down just after the noon hour. The new seasonal service will run 3 times a week through October. And while some carriers are temporarily reducing flights because of rising fuel costs, airport officials say adding another affordable option to Toronto is certainly welcome news for travelers in that part of New Brunswick.
Today, to have Flair join YQM is so important and really exciting for our region. It not only offers variety, but when you think about ongoing challenges in the industry and rising costs, to have different carriers who all have different operating models, different cost structures, I think it better diversifies our market.
We've seen a large drive in domestic travel and people wanting to explore more of this great country, and Moncton has just been top of that list for a lot of people.
They're hopeful, the airport officials say they're hopeful the new airline could eventually expand beyond Toronto and add service to other destinations. Heading into the long weekend, the long-term care strike is not top of mind for most Nova Scotians, and that's concerning for striking workers. There's no talks underway between the union and the province. Meanwhile, the families of those living in seniors' homes are left wondering when full care will return. An update now from CTV's Jonathan McGuinness.
It's been radio silence between striking long-term care workers and the province of Nova Scotia since brief talks broke off late last week.
Our members are getting tired. They're still, dedicated and wanting to reach a fair deal so they can get a wage they can live off of.
And that could be the province's strategy, according to CUPE's provincial coordinator of long-term care.
I truly think they're trying to starve the members out.
The strike is now into its 5th week. Essential services committees still meet with their employer daily to ensure basic resident care is being upheld.
In the home that I am in, it's the residents are still being well cared for. There are some things that they're missing out on, like programs.
Still, an increase in staff and hours can be negotiated as long as both sides agree it's warranted and reasonable. And when they don't agree, a statement sent to CTV News from Seniors and Long-Term Care Minister Barbara Adams says in part, the Independent Labour Board can quickly resolve disputes. In fact, there has already been a ruling that required CUPE to provide additional staff to meet the essential care of residents. Adams says that's her #1 priority. Meanwhile, 2 more local unions joined the picket lines yesterday, bringing the total to 34, stretching from Yarmouth to Cape Breton. And Todd, when asked what was happening with the strike this long weekend, Kim Kale said she suggested workers take some time off and rest up. Most, Todd, said they'll be back here on the picket lines.
Okay, John McGuinness in Halifax, thank you. A story you'll only see online. Web reporter Lauren Rolson writes about the benefits of kangaroo care and why the IWK is promoting it. It's a great story. You can see it at ctvnewsatlantic.ca. We're going to go to neighboring Maine now, where a huge fire burned at a lumber mill today. It's unclear how the fire started at Robbins Lumber in the community of Searsmont, but there were reports of a large explosion. You can hear something going on there. 2 more explosions were heard as the fire continued to burn this afternoon. 11 people have been injured. There are unconfirmed reports that some firefighters are among those hurt. Searsmont, about 80 kilometers southwest of Bangor. Former NHL defenseman, Maritimer Paul Boutilier has died. Born in Sydney, he played for Canada at the World Juniors in 1982, then won a Stanley Cup as a member of the New York Islanders in 1983. He went on to play for 4 other NHL squads, including Boston and Winnipeg. He later became a coach with stints at both St. Mary's and Dalhousie universities, then as an assistant on the bench with the Sea Dogs of St. John, and more recently the Moncton Wildcats. Paul Boutilier died Wednesday evening in Halifax. He was 63 years old.
Team Canada decided to offer their...
Get the Maritimes top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
It's the little movie making a big splash, Little Lorraine. It's selling out theaters. Canadian films have always struggled to get screen space, and that's especially true in the streaming era. But the Maritime movie is proving there is an audience for local stories. CTV's Callum Smith has more.
If you ask people what's bringing them to see Little Lorraine, their answers may differ.
I'm coming because I've heard a lot of good things about it. I'm born and bred in Cape Breton, and it has to do with Cape Breton, so I just want to know what it's all about. It's been too long.
Where's the cash? Coal miners who take to the sea, forced to take desperate measures to support their families.
That story is stranger than anything that someone could make up. That a group of good men fell on hard times and got involved with some smuggling of illicit drugs from a different country.
Involving coffins, hearses, and funeral homes, putting the Made in Nova Scotia film on the map, with some people seeing the movie several times, especially in Cape Breton, The demand forcing Cineplex to add more screenings to theaters across the country.
For a movie that is opened up 5 weeks ago, starting that movie in other cities is normally not heard of. So that just tells you how successful it's been.
The indie film made its mark on film festivals across Canada last year with sellout showings, especially here at home. But the box office success is another level.
It's really challenging for Canadian films generally to have a really successful theatrical release in Canada. There's a lot of competition, and it proves that a film like this really is resonating with audiences and making that impact, and people are excited to see films from home.
Annapolis Valley's own writer-director Andy Hines took inspiration from Adam Baldwin's song, Lighthouse in Little Lorraine, which itself is based on a true story.
I felt very connected to the kind of storytelling that song was doing, and I felt like I could certainly attempt to do it justice in a feature setting.
When you listen to the song, it's like watching a movie. It's so well written, and the dialogue is perfect, the lyrics. Anyway, so when I heard they were making a movie, I couldn't wait to come and see it.
After directing music videos for some of the world's top artists, Little Lorraine was Hines' leap into the feature film world.
This experience that I'm in right now with Little Lorraine coming out into the public sphere and being seen in even my local theater where my parents live down the valley, it means the world to me.
The storyline bringing out emotional and rave reviews.
It's a very serious movie. It's a heartbreaking movie. And it affected me right here.
We went as a foursome and couldn't get 4 seats together. We had to split up 2 and 2. The place was packed. It's wonderful. And yes, local. Perfect.
Now Hines is able to sit back, hoping the success goes beyond Canadian borders.
It's a wild ride this film is on, and I'm kind of in the passenger seat now.
Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
And it's got a great soundtrack. It's a good film. All right, still ahead. Your long weekend weather forecast. We'll get the details, but first, yeah, it might be spring, but we're still thinking about the rink.
We are looking to break ground this summer.
One maritime community is focused on securing an arena. I'll give you the details after this.
Heading into the May long weekend, here's your Campfire Conditions Report brought to you by Pine Acres RV, where customers become friends. Most of New Brunswick is restricted to the hours of 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. for campfires, except for the southwestern corner of the province. Those would be the counties of Carleton, York, Sudbury, and Charlotte. Currently, campfires and Category 1 burning allowed anytime. For the province of Nova Scotia, most of the province is permitted to have campfires between 2 p.m. and 8 a.m., but hours are restricted to between 7 p.m. and 8 a.m. for areas of the Annapolis Valley and the Tri-County region of the province. And for Prince Edward Island, currently open to campfires with domestic Category 1 brush burning restricted to the hours of 2 p.m. to 8 a.m. Remember, as well as checking in on the provincial restrictions, to check in on any municipal bylaws or restrictions as well.
Hockey is done most places, but one Cape Breton community is still thinking about the rink. For years, Bedeque has been trying to replace the only indoor ice surface in the whole county. And CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us they're finally close to the finish line.
The building that for 50 years was the only rink in Bedeque and in recent years the only arena in Victoria County is now a demolition zone.
The roof is off of the former facility. The interior is gutted.
With the teardown nearly complete, the steering committee working to have a new arena built says all of the roughly $18 million in government funding is now basically in place. But it has taken a while. It's been nearly 2 years since the building was condemned, and longer than that since an engineering report found the old arena was on its last legs.
The process has been very long, has been complicated. I mean, it's been 5 years since we started the process of looking at what's possible, what's necessary, but everyone has been supportive, and we're grateful that it's all coming together.
The tent and everything connected to the tent has added about $35,000 to the cost of the event.
This year and last, the Cabot Trail Relay Race, which is about a week away, will hold its closing banquet in a large and expensive tent next to the shuttered arena. The race's treasurer says having a new building sooner than later is imperative for an event that brings an estimated $1.7 million spin-off dollars to communities around the Cabot Trail.
Oh, it's huge, because I don't know that we can just keep, raising fees for the teams, keeping all the teams interested, and still coming up with this extra money for this tent.
Pretty soon, what's left of the old rink here will be torn down, and if things go according to plan, ground will be broken on the new facility before too long after that.
We are looking to break ground this summer, likely in the June-July timeframe.
In the meantime, a fundraising event is being held in the village 2 weeks from now. The not-for-profit that will operate the new rink hopes to raise $1 million in community fundraisers over the next 2 years.
We are confident that by September of 2028, we will have ice in the new facility.
New infrastructure that is coming to a rural area, even if it didn't come easy. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Bedeck, Nova Scotia.
Thank you, Ryan. Still to come in your newscast tonight, a fair May long weekend ahead. Certainly happy to be able to report that. Kayla Mitchell has the details right after this. Hey, that's some pretty serious surf there. That's the Back Row Point Lighthouse. We saw the beach earlier, so why not take a look at the lighthouse? Different part of the province, of course, but that's some pretty good surf, and somebody's taken the opportunity to check it out this evening.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a coastal walk there. 9 degrees right now. You can see there's a fair amount of cloud cover, but the sky isn't overly dark. So those are mostly mid-level clouds that we're seeing there, kind of on the brighter side. And as we make our way over the next 24 hours, there's going to be a lot of clearing when it comes to the cloud cover in the Maritimes, which leads into that long weekend forecast, of course.
Move it out.
We'll take a look at that in a moment. Let's take a quick look at weather conditions across the country. We've got 11 degrees and cloudy conditions at Vancouver right now, 16 at Edmonton. Saskatoon sitting at +1 and Regina at 8 degrees. So their temperatures have come down in behind that big wind event they had yesterday, though the wind warnings have ended. Winnipeg sitting at 17 degrees, and then moving off towards the east, it's 20 right now in Toronto. We have some of that warmth headed in our direction for the long weekend here in the Maritimes. 19 at Montreal, 17 at Fredericton right now, 9 at Halifax, 7 at Charlottetown, and 4 in St. John's. More rain on its way to Newfoundland. Taking a look at our timeline for cloud cover and precipitation as we head through this evening and tonight. A band of showers and light rain will be developing across Prince Edward Island, northern and western areas of Nova Scotia. This is on the backside of a low pressure system that is passing mostly off the Atlantic coastline of Nova Scotia. You can see it bringing some rain out at Sable Island. Now, that band of light rain and showers is going to continue to move eastward as we head into the early morning hours of Saturday. So start of the day for tomorrow, I do expect there will still be some rain, some showers around parts of the east of Prince Edward Island and eastern areas of Nova Scotia, parts of the North Shore, the Eastern Shore, and Cape Breton. But moving from the morning into the afternoon, the rain and the showers will be clearing off towards the east, and Saturday afternoon around the Maritimes, mostly sunny to a fair weather mix of sun and cloud. Now, rainfall amounts in that wet weather developing for tonight, in most cases, will be limited to around a couple of millimeters. There might be a few areas to pick up about another 5 to 10 millimeters of rain. Winds in the forecast for tonight remain mostly out of a north direction. They'll be sustained 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. And then tomorrow's winds will be out of the west and the northwest. And they will be breezy with some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour, peaking a little bit higher in areas of Cape Breton, including around Sydney, where some of those peak wind gusts could come close to 50. Taking a look at low temperatures in the forecast for tonight around the region, most of the lows will fall into range around 4 to 9 degrees. There's showers redeveloping for Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. North of New Brunswick for tomorrow, though, mostly sunny, and the high temperatures in the low to mid 20s, including 22 at Grand Falls, 24 at Campbellton, and 25 degrees for Miramichi. For our viewers on the Gaspé Peninsula in Quebec, New Richmond there, high temperature near 20 degrees for Saturday. 25 for Fredericton for tomorrow. It'll be near 20 for St. John. And then for Moncton, the southeastern corner of the province, high temperature close to 25 degrees. Prince Edward Island on Saturday can expect high temperatures mostly in the range of 18 to 22 with a mix of sun and cloud. And then eastern areas of Nova Scotia, again, some showers coming to an end, moving through the morning. High temperatures in Cape Breton, mostly 15 to 17. A little bit cooler for Inverness County there, close to 13 degrees. Parts of the eastern shore and north shore of Nova Scotia, though, a lot of high temperatures, high teens and low 20s. 21 for Amherst in the forecast, 23 for Enfield for tomorrow. City centers, Halifax and Dartmouth, close to 21 degrees, and 18 at Lunenburg. Heading down the south shore, 28 around Liverpool and Shelburne. Cooler at Yarmouth and Barrington, around 13 degrees there. But the Annapolis Valley will be warm with high temperatures near 22. Taking a look at the extended forecast for New Brunswick on Sunday, low chance of some pop-up showers, about a 30% chance for any given community. Temperatures still warm. A mix of sun and cloud on Monday, some returning showers to the forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, but followed by a mix of sun and cloud for Thursday and Friday. Could have some highs in the 20s still on Tuesday and Wednesday. For Nova Scotia in the forecast, 30% chance of a shower on Sunday, then a mix of sun and cloud on Monday. Temperatures cool a couple of degrees, but it's still pretty pleasant. Isolated showers for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, followed by showers on Thursday, and then Friday it's back to a mix of sun and cloud. And here's a look at Prince Edward Island. And in the forecast for Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, low chance of a shower, but the high temperature near 21 degrees. Now it does cool for Monday for PEI, with high temperatures coming down closer to 14, but then back up to 18 on Tuesday. There's a chance of showers on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Showers in the forecast for Thursday. Todd.
So, Kaylin, we saw Josh's report from Shediac. It's going to be about 25 degrees. Yeah. Moncton, maybe a little cooler, Shediac. Yeah. I bet you some people run into the water at Parley Beach.
Yeah, probably. I bet there's some people who already have, and I would expect there would be more this weekend. Absolutely. I mean, it's still cool in those waters, right? It's not the middle of summer yet, but yeah, I would expect, yeah.
Oh, the hardy types, they'll be in there. Yeah. Thank you. We'll see you at the end of the show. Now, Ottawa and Alberta are playing nice on carbon pricing and pipelines, and that's a topic for Friday Politics, which we'll have after this.
Okay, so Virgin Radio's 5K a day will resume Tuesday after the long weekend, 7 a.m. Get those keywords.
And Tuesday around 7:30, find out how you could win all-you-could-eat hot dogs for you and a friend.
Welcome back. Time for Friday Politics now. And this week we're joined by Don Desroud, Professor of Political Science, University of Prince Edward Island. There he is in North River. Nice to see you, Don.
Nice to see you, too.
Hey, let's start on the island and the province's $410 million deficit. It's causing some problems for the government. Moody's, not terribly impressed with it, has dropped from stable to negative category. That could have an impact on the credit rating. How do you think that's going to play out?
Well, obviously, the opposition parties are making a lot of this, as they should. It is alarming. You know, I've been doing a lot of work on the historic PEI elections, and there was one back in the beginning of the 20th century where they were very upset because the debt had reached $30,000. So those are the days, eh? Yeah. So, well, there's two sides to this. Yes, it is a serious problem. The more the debt, the more the servicing of the debt, the more money that goes away from programs. We all know that. Government after government has said they're going to get atop this. No government has. Doesn't matter whether they're liberal or conservative. The problem, or I guess the good news for the PC government, though, they've got a lot of problems. If you look at those latest polls, they're third right now. The good news is that these numbers become so big that people stop looking at them as even being real. They are real. They are important. But politically, it just becomes it's starting to become background noise.
Well, we kind of get a sense of that because Finance Minister Joe Burridge said, "Well, look, other provinces are experiencing the same thing," as if to say somehow it's okay because the other kids on the block have the same issue.
Yeah, and it really does depend on how well a opposition party is able to use this. They have to find that right message. If you go back, to the Paul Martin years at the federal level, that was one of the few governments that actually started paying down paying down Canadian debt. But you remember that was what made the Reform Party become a significant player, because they just hammered away at that whole question of deficit and debt and all the problems that it was causing, and people started to pay attention to it. Now I don't know whether any political party has that moral license to do so. But the Green Party is, they're the ones, at least lately, are leading in the polls, and they've always been that have that interesting fiscal responsibility to go with their environmentalism. So we'll see whether they can take this and run with it.
Okay, all the news channels, including CTV, went live this afternoon with the signing of the deal between Alberta and Canada that lowers carbon pricing. Not exactly must-see TV, Don, but it certainly speaks to the significance of this issue.
It does, and my takeaway from this is there are several things that I find really interesting about this. I'm not an economist, and I'm certainly not an economist that deals with carbon tax and carbon pricing, but this is a long-term deal. That's number one. How often do we complain that governments look for short-term solutions? They're going for a long-term solution. It also means that they're buying some sort of rapport with Alberta, some degree of mutual respect that I think is going to play out well for both Carney and for Smith, and it becomes a piece in a puzzle. So what Carney has to do is make sure that people understand that he has this long-term plan, and that this is what they want to do. And whether they're going to be patient enough with him for that is going to be the problem.
I mean, they've made it very clear, Ottawa, that look, we'll sign these deals, but it doesn't mean a pipeline is going to get built unless you get a private operator or a corporate entity to come in and decide they want to invest in it. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But could this cause some problems for Mr. Carney, even within his own caucus? There's a lot of people there from the Trudeau years. They all lined up behind the then Prime Minister to support this, very ambitious environmental policy and direction that he took the party in. And now this is certainly a reversal of that.
Yeah, and we're hearing prominent Liberals and prominent former cabinet ministers saying those very things. This becomes an issue of what they want to do with that their opposition to it. It is still a fragile majority. The fact that they had some people across the floor and they won some by-elections, it looks good on paper, but these are not necessarily, or at least some of them are not necessarily committed Liberals, so that majority is still fragile. The government could still fall. It's not a sure thing that they're going to be able to survive a confidence vote if there's any kind of caucus revolt of some sort. So he has to be very, very careful there. But would the Liberals want to risk the fact that they're seemingly moving in the right direction in terms of popularity, in terms of establishing themselves as the governing party without having to worry about confidence votes? That's where I think the people will probably pull back. There'll be talk behind the scenes, but less so publicly.
Okay, we'll have to watch for that. Don Desroute, always interesting getting your point of view. Thanks a lot for taking the time tonight from North River.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great long weekend. We'll take a break. We'll be back with much more. Looking at medical news, the province of Prince Edward Island is asking islanders for their input to improve access to care and support people living with long-term pain. CTV's Amanda Debison has more in the Friday edition of The Lifeline.
The PEI government is asking for the public's input as it develops its first chronic pain strategy. The province says the draft of its 5-year strategy focuses on recognizing chronic pain as a health priority. It's also trying to improve timely access to care and ensure the public knows how to access resources. Consultations will be held in communities across PEI in the coming weeks. Measles transmission is a major concern for Canada's health agency ahead of next month's FIFA World Cup. An analysis of 14 pathogens by the federal agency has found there is a high risk of measles transmission in this country. Canada lost its measles elimination status last year after an outbreak persisted for more than 12 months. Thousands of players, staff, and fans are set to converge on Toronto and Vancouver next month. Finally, going to an art gallery might slow down how fast you age. A new study out of London found people who engage with the arts may actually slow down biological aging. Researchers found cultural engagement is as powerful as physical activity at doing so. But what you do matters. It seems that enjoying a wide variety of artistic activities frequently increases the effect. So heavy metal concerts may be on the menu just as much as the symphony. Experts say what you really want to do is make sure you vary the aesthetics, sensory stimulation, and social interaction in activities. The correlation was strongest in people over 40 years old, and the study was published in the journal Innovation in Aging. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for the Lifeline.
With Aaron and Peter. Join us weekdays at 7 for the $1,000 Minute Jackpot Edition.
It's your choice. Take the winnings and run, or throw it in the growing jackpot and take it all.
A disappointing day on the Dow Jones to wrap up the trading week. It was down 537 points. Manufacturing sales were up in March in this country, coming in at over $73 billion. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has the details.
Petroleum and coal products did the heavy lifting, with sales totaling $9.4 billion. That's almost a 23% gain from February. The number of sales didn't rise, but prices were up because of the disruption in the Middle East. Sales of transportation equipment are also up 6% in March. Closing gained over 9%. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar ended the week at $72.86. West Texas Intermediate up over $4 to 105.42. Western Canadian Select is up to 80.35. And the TSX lost over 400 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Tough day on the markets. Nice to see the weather doing a little better.
Yeah, well, it's trending that way at least.
Yeah,
at the moment here in the north end of Halifax, it's still on the cloudy side, cool, and expecting some showers or some light rain to make its way through tonight. Our viewer picture for tonight, though, this comes in from a beautiful sunset the other evening from Brian Brophy, sent in by Point Edward, Nova Scotia. I want to thank Brian very much for taking the time to do that. And Point Edward for tomorrow in Cape Breton does start off the day with some showers around, but by the afternoon, it should be clear to some sunshine and the high temperature near 17 degrees. Day planner for tomorrow, first thing on Saturday, some showers maybe around eastern parts of Prince Edward Island, the eastern half of Nova Scotia. Those, though, continue to clear to the east, moving into Saturday afternoon, which will be mostly sunny to a mix of sun and cloud across much of the region, with a lot of high temperatures in the high teens and low 20s, might even be a few right around the mid-20s for parts of New Brunswick. Let's find out what's coming up next week on Your Morning Atlantic.
Tuesday on Your Morning Atlantic, Kent's May Big Bucket Giveaway Reveal.
We have had some great prizes so far this year, and they keep coming. We'll show you what you could win this month.
Start your morning with us Tuesday on Your Morning Atlantic on CTV2 and Crave.
Finally for us tonight, a restaurant in Michigan serving up more than food. Hidden inside is a museum dedicated to Snoopy. There are more than 16,000 Snoopy collectibles that fill this museum, from Pez dispensers to artwork and classic Peanuts memorabilia. Nearly every inch of space is covered from the ceiling to the floor, as you can see. The owner says his love for Snoopy started back in 1965 when he was just a kid. The best part, since the museum opened 3 years ago, it's raised nearly $50,000 for local charities. And that is our look at the day here at home. Bruce is here at 11:30, and the website has our reporting on this long weekend. We leave you soaring over Eskasoni First Nation. I'm Todd Battis. See you Tuesday. Till then, have a great weekend.
CTV News, the Maritimes' #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.